Hi guys, welcome back. Welcome back to my living room. Okay, so we're back for round 10, class 10. I think I put in. I'm gonna eventually lose count of all of these. So we'll give everybody a couple more minutes. I think I came on a few minutes early. I've started talking a few minutes early tonight. So we'll give a few more people a chance to log in here. I mean, comment in and let me know how you're doing. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about tonight. I usually have something to catch you up on, but I've pretty much caught you up on everything this morning. So, I mean, I guess I could just repeat myself because why not, right? You're all here to listen to me talk anyway. So yeah, basically what I was talking about this morning is that I've kind of reworked the schedule a little bit for next week. So that because as I've been teaching the last few days, I realized that I put all of the level 1 to 2s back to back, and then I put the 2 level 2s back to back. So there hasn't been a whole lot of variation in the classes over the last couple of days. So after seeing that, I've kind of changed a few things for next week. I've added in a second level 3 class, so there's going to be 2 level 3s next week because I got a few people saying that they really enjoyed that on Monday night. So we'll do a second level 3 class next week, or we'll do 2 level 3 classes next week. And then I've kind of tried to shift things around a little bit more. I am going to do one 20-minute class on Wednesday afternoon at 12 o'clock because I got a request for that. So I'm not very accustomed to teaching 20-minute classes, so I'm gonna feel that one out and see what happens with it. But yeah, either tomorrow night or Sunday, I'll post up like what I did last weekend, an image with the week's schedule. I think that's it. As I said, I think it was Wednesday night, I think. If you want to have music on, a really good, pretty chilled out, even tempoed playlist is on Spotify. It's called Sweater Weather Instrumentals. It's a great playlist that I typically play whenever I'm teaching a yin class. Some playlists can be a little bit iffy if you choose them because they can go up in tempo and then drop in tempo, and sometimes those don't happen at ideal times in your class. When I design a playlist, the start of my playlist is a slower pace as you warm up, then we speed up a little bit, and then we drop back down towards the end of class in tempo and in the energy of the music. So if you are using one of my yes, Jordan, level 3. So if you are using one of my playlists on Spotify, don't put it on shuffle because it does go with that tempo and the pace of the class. I think we'll go ahead and get started. So similar flow to what we've done in the level 1 to 2s over the last 2 days, this morning and then last night as well. So you might need a block, you might need a strap, you might not. The strap I didn't use this morning. I gave different variations this morning, but I will use the strap if you need it tonight for it's a single leg balancing posture with your floating leg floating out in front of you. So the playlist. So the playlist is called Sweater Weather Instrumentals, and it's on Spotify. And you can just hit shuffle on that because all of the songs are a pretty even pace, so you shouldn't get any surprises in there, which is good. Okay, yes, Allie, excited for level 3s. Yay, level 3s. Me too, because they're quite fun for me to practice with you guys and teach them as well. Okay, so let's do it. Here we go. This is a level 2 class, so you can take some options. I'm feeling a little bit beat up tonight, so my vinyasas probably won't be full vinyasas. I might do up dogs, I might do a few full chaturangas, but I think the majority of my chaturangas tonight are going to be from my knees. But I'll give you some variations, some options. It's not going to be much different to the level 1 to 2s. Other than the fact that I'll give you harder options, and we'll do a little bit more. We might move a little bit faster. But Okay, here we go. Child's pose, please. Knees to the mat, big toes touch behind you, hips to the heels, towards the heels. They might not get there. And then the forehead drops towards the mat. As always, just take a moment here. Adjust if needed, fidget if needed as well. Sometimes you just need to get that little bit of movement out of your body, out of your system, so that you can really settle into a moment of stillness. Most of us have probably been dealing with quite a bit of stillness recently as we sit on the couch and watch Netflix. But let this be intentional stillness. Letting your breath travel through the nose. Taking notice of the natural movement of the body. The opening and the closing. And noticing if the urges to fidget maybe do start to come through your thoughts. Just being aware of them and allowing those thoughts to pass without having to attach movement to them. Take 3 more deep breaths. And once your breaths are completed, you're going to come up into tabletop position, using an inhale to lift your body up. Bringing your hands just underneath your shoulders, knees under the hips, grounding through your knuckles. Take a deep breath. Cow tilts. Inhale, drop the belly, lift your chest. Exhale, cat's tilt, round the spine. And again, inhale, cow. As the belly drops, you're engaging the muscles of your back to open the front. And exhale, as you round, you're engaging the muscles in your front to open the back. Take 3 more. Long inhale, staying grounded into your knuckles. And powerful exhales. Just continue moving with your breath, whatever pace it's going at. Taking 1 more if you're still with me. Big opening on the inhale. And a powerful closing on the exhale. And then back to neutral. Inhale, bringing the gaze down between your hands. Preparing your first down dog. Tuck your toes when you're ready. Keep that engagement of your belly. You're helping to support your lower back, always important. Push through the hands and the feet, lift the knees, reach the chest back. Take about 5 breaths here. You've got the freedom for a bit of movement, maybe bending one knee, pressing into the opposite heel, shifting back and forth if it feels good. Maybe even drawing the bent knee underneath the body a little bit, getting a bit more length in the other side of the body. Take 1 more deep breath there. Coming back into down dog, back into stillness for a moment. And then coming to the top of the mat, look forwards. Take small steps, maybe bending the knees if needed, and tiptoe the feet to the top of your mat. Feet are separated, hips width apart a little bit. Knees are bent a bit, and the upper body relaxes. You might grab a hold of your elbows, interlacing the arms. You might leave the arms hanging to the mat. Find some movement here again. You're just waking up the body, getting everything ready for your practice. Your head, it might shake a little bit, no, maybe some yes. The upper body might also sway a little bit side to side if it feels good. And then coming back just to stillness at the center when you're ready. Release the arms. Let your head stay heavy. Let the neck stay relaxed. Slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Knees are still bent. And your head is the very last thing to lift. Bringing the feet towards one another. Big toes might touch. So with your feet, your toes are gripping the mat. The balls of your feet, which is like the knuckle of your big toe, is pressing down, as well as the outer edges of your heels. So you might feel your feet kind of rotate a little bit with that. From there, your inner thighs are rotating in towards one another. Your pelvis is tucked under just slightly, so your butt isn't sticking out behind you. You've tucked your pelvis under. Your rib cage is drawing in. There's a lot of things happening here. Keep with me. And your shoulders are dropping down your back. So you should feel really tall there with all of that engagement, really sturdy even. On your next inhale, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, arms come down by your sides. All of those same points stay where they are. Same again, inhale, reach. Arms go up, rib cage stays down, pelvis stays tucked a bit. Exhale, arms by your sides. Once more, inhale. And then this time fold. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Keep the power of your legs as you control yourself down, hands towards the mat. Knees might be bent a bit. Inhale, flat back. Lift your chest halfway up away from your legs. Hands might be able to stay on the mat. Hands might need to come into your shins. And then release. Exhale, fold. Same again. Inhale, flat back. It doesn't matter what angle your back is at. What matters is that you're taking this rounding out of your spine. On the next exhale, fold. Once more. Inhale, flat back. Back to plank. Exhale, plant the palms. Step both feet to the back of the mat. First option, knees are down. Second option, knees can stay lifted. This is your first chaturanga. Take your time. Exhale, start to bend the elbows. As the elbows bend, your chest is moving forwards just over your fingertips. Inhale, first option is cobra. Hips are down, chest halfway up. Second option is upward facing dog with straight arms. Making sure wherever you are, tops of the feet are grounded, knees and thighs are, your thighs are active, your lower back is supported. On your next exhale, whether you're in up dog or cobra, head back to downward facing dog. First option, pushing down through the knees. Second option, pushing through the tops of the feet, rolling over your toes. 2 or 3 breaths. Press down through the knuckles, not only of your hands, but of your big toes as well. That ball of your foot. One more here. Reaching back on the exhale. Inhale to the top of the mat. Look forwards. Step or jump the feet between the hands. Lift the chest halfway. Exhale, fold. To standing with a flat back. Inhale, lift the chest. Continue all the way up. Lift the arms and the gaze. Exhale, arms by your sides. Check back in with your legs. Are the feet grounded? Are the inner thighs rolling in? Is the pelvis tucked under? Are you stable in the middle of your body? Take one more breath. Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, fold. Hinge at the hips, hands towards the mat. Inhale, flat back, lift the chest. Exhale, Vinyasa. Plant the palms. Step or jump the feet to the back of the mat. First option, knees down. Second option, knees lifted. Chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. Shoulders move back and down. Downward facing dog. Exhale, pulling the body back. Take just one more here. Then coming to the top of the mat, inhale, look forwards, step or jump the feet between the hands, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, lunge your left foot to the back of the mat. Left leg is back. Your right heel is grounded directly underneath your right knee, setting a twist. Right arm reaches up to the ceiling. So your chest is facing that front knee at the moment. From here, legs first. Front heel is already set and grounded. Back heel kicks away from you. Making sure all of your weight isn't forwards here. You're pulling through that back heel, bringing the weight back into your legs, into your hips. Take one more. Downward facing dog. Exhale, right hand down, right foot to the back of the mat. 3-legged down dog, right leg lifts up. Take a breath. Reach through the right leg. That's that floating leg.
Then start to open your hip. Keep the floating leg straight. Your right hip spins up and open. As the right hip spins up, the foot lifts maybe a little bit higher. Take one or two more. Make sure your chest, your left shoulder hasn't collapsed here. Both shoulders are reaching back. Then come back into squared off hips. Roll your right hip back down in line with the left. Look forwards, crescent lunge. Right foot between the hands, ground into the legs, both arms lifting up. Just one more breath here. Front foot is grounded, front knee a little bit out over your pinky toe. Preparing a fold. When you're ready, exhale, hands down, left foot up to meet the right. Inhale, flat back. Other side. Exhale, plant the palms, right leg lunges back. Once that right foot is back, make sure your left heel is under the knee, right heel kicks out, and then twist. Left arm turns up to the ceiling. So both of your shoulders are rolling back here. We focus a lot on the top shoulder because that's what helps to twist mostly. But as the top shoulder rolls back, watch if your bottom shoulder has collapsed in here. Roll that one back as well. One more. Downward facing dog. Exhale, left hand down, left foot steps back. Three-legged dog. Grounding through the hands, lift your left leg up. So you're getting a little extra opening in the back of your right leg here. Keep reaching through the right heel. Then start to open the hip. Left hip spins up over the right. Your right glute, the glute of your standing leg, is active here, working to push that right hip underneath you. One more, reach a little further back through the chest on the exhale. Then close the hip, left hip rolls down with the right into your lunge. Left foot between the hands, both arms eventually coming overhead. One or two more here. When you are ready, come into a fold. Exhale, hands to the mat. Right foot steps up to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, bring the hands up to your hips, all the way up to standing. Inhale, lift the chest. Arms by your sides. Moving through Surya Namaskara B, Sun Salutation B with Warrior Ones added in. From here, chair pose. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms up, Utkatasana. So the hips are setting back, but not lifting. You're tucking your pelvis under a little bit. Last breath here. Exhale, fold, hands to the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Through a Vinyasa. Exhale, plant the palms, step or jump the feet back. First option, knees down. Second option, knees up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. And exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Into your warriors. Your left heel is going to spin into 45 degrees. The right foot then comes forwards between the hands. Both arms lifting straight up overhead. Outer edge of your back foot is first. Push into the outer edge of that foot. Back leg is strong. The left hip then spins forwards a little bit, getting more information in that back leg. One more. Down dog or Vinyasa. Exhale, hands down. Right foot steps back. If you're skipping the Vinyasa, straight to down dog. If you're taking it, exhale, Chaturanga. Squeeze the elbows into your sides. Inhale, Cobra or Upward Face. Downward face. Exhale. Other side. Right heel spins into 45 degrees. Left foot is between the hands. Both arms overhead. Warrior One. Again, you're working towards square hips here. What I mean by square versus open, square means your hips are facing the front of your mat. Open basically means your hips are facing the side of your mat. Take another 2 breaths here, seeing if you can get a little bit more turn in your hips. Your right hip rolling forwards, left hip might come back a little bit to meet it. Last one. The choice again is yours, down dog or Vinyasa. Exhale, hands down, left foot steps back. Use your breath. The exhale closes the body. Inhale opens the body. And the exhale closes back once again. One more breath here.
Then coming to the top of the mat, look forwards. Inhale, step or jump the feet between the hands, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, bend your knees, sweep the arms up. Belly is active, shoulders are strong so that your biceps come back next to your ears. Next exhale, come to standing all the way up, release the arms by your sides. Well done. You should be warm now, a little bit warm, maybe a little bit sweating. Inhale, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, fold, hinging at the hips, hands to the mat. Inhale, flat back. Vinyasa, or just go straight back to downward facing dog. So if you're taking the vinyasa, I'm skipping it, but if you're taking it, exhale lowers you down. The inhale lifts the chest, strong legs, and the exhale brings you back to downward face. Crescent lunge. Inhale, your right foot steps forwards between the hands, both arms lifting up overhead. So we're starting here with square hips. Your hips are facing forwards. You also are paying attention to this front leg and the engagement of your right glute to make sure your right knee hasn't collapsed in. You want the knee out, a little bit out over your pinky toe, using the engagement of the glute to set that. Take your hands to your hips. Prepare warrior two. Don't let this front leg change. Don't let the knee drop in. Let your back heel spin in. Your hips start to open. Again, using the power of this right glute to keep your knee out and to keep it stable here. Once the hips are open, arms reach forwards and back. Your gaze can go forwards over your front fingers if it feels nice. Take one more breath here. Front knee a little out to the side, still pressing into the outer edge of that back foot. And then inhale, front leg straightens. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Inhale, reach forwards through the right fingers. As you come forwards, you should already be able to start to feel something in the inside of your right leg here. Reach through the right fingers, push back through your right hip. Then, eventually, right hand comes down to the leg, left arm is straight up to the ceiling. Similar idea here in the upper body as when you were in that very first twist. Your top shoulder is rolling up to open the chest. Make sure you've not collapsed to the mat. But again, as you do that, your bottom shoulder might roll in. So pull that one back as well. Now, first option, stay here. Enjoy it. Second option, Ardha Chandrasana, taking your first one-legged balance. If you're taking Ardha Chandrasana, bring the gaze down. Bend your front knee. Right fingers want to be about a foot out in front of your right toes. You don't want them too close to you. Send them forwards. Back toes, for some of you, your back toes will float right off of the mat. For others of you, you're going to need a little help. Step those back toes forwards so that your weight is now being held in this right leg. Top shoulder, again, rolls back. When you're ready, back toes maybe float. They might stay there. They might slowly start to lift. Eventually looking for a horizontal line, or it might not be totally horizontal. You're probably at a funny angle. Eventually looking for a straight line from your floating heel through that hip up to the crown of your head. When you've had enough, everybody's returning to warrior two. So wherever you're at, bend your front knee. Left foot steps back if it was floating. Pull the body up through the left arm. Down dog or vinyasa. Exhale, hands down. Right foot steps back. If you're taking the vinyasa, move through chaturanga, cobra or up dog, and downward facing dog. And then preparing the other side. When you're ready, left foot between the hands. Crescent lunge to start, both arms lifting overhead. Take a second. Find the engagement of this left glute. Again, the knee a little bit out to the side. You can also pay attention to that front foot. So the toes are gripping. Similar sort of grounding. Grounding into the ball of your foot, pressing into the outer edge of your heel. Making sure you've not rolled onto the inner arch. You want to have a little bit more weight into the outer edge of your foot here. Then, hands to your hips. Opening into warrior two. Back heel spins down, hips start to turn open. Now coming from, I'm going to face the camera here. If you take a look at my feet are about hips width apart in your crescent lunge. When you spin your back heel down and open, your front foot might need to heel toe in a little bit so that your hips can really truly face that side of the mat. Your front heel might be in line with the arch of your back foot. This is just a suggestion. You might not actually have to go there, but for me, it works a lot.
I do take a true hips width stance in my forwards facing lunges, and I do need a more of a straight line for my open hip postures. From here, I think I've talked long enough in Warrior 2. Front leg goes straight, Trikonasana. Inhale, reach forwards. Left fingers towards the front wall. Keep your upper body tracing over this line of your front leg. Don't let the upper body drift in. Keep it over that left leg. Once you can't get any further, left hand is down, right arm goes up. Long breaths. As much as your chest is reaching forwards here, watch that your lower ribs don't shoot out and make this a back bend. Keep the lower ribs into the body. First option, stay. Second option, Ardha Chandrasana, gaze down. Bend your front knee. Left finger's about a foot out in front of your toes. Back toes might come right forwards into your float. They might step up a little bit first and then start to lift up off of the mat. Wherever you are, take your time. Leave some bend of this standing knee. If you struggle at all to open your hip, then bending the knee gives you a little bit more access into rolling that right hip higher. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then you're returning to Warrior 2. When you're ready, bend the front knee, right foot steps back. If it was floating, the right arm pulls you up. Down dog or a vinyasa. Hands down, left foot steps back. Exhale, chaturanga. Keep the belly lifting as you bend the elbows. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Really strong upper back. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Child's pose. Knees to the mat. Hips back towards the heels. 3 to 5 breaths. When you're settled, when you're ready, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right foot steps to the outside of your right hand. So you're in a wider lunge here. Now you are coming up into crescent lunge for a couple breaths. So with that wider lunge, you need a little bit extra engagement in your glutes to help you support. So again, front knee a little out over the pinky toe. Kick stronger through your back heel. Start to lift your chest, lengthening your spine. Once the weight is in your feet, then start to pull the arms up overhead. Take maybe 2 deep breaths here. Squeeze your butt. Tucking the pelvis under a little bit. Belly is strong. Last one. Then exhale, bring the hands back down to the mat, just inside of your right foot. Lizard lunge. First option, you can set your back knee down. Second option, keep the back knee lifted. From here, front knee right on top of the ankle. Your chest is open, spine is long. Next option, whether the back knee is up or down, is you can lower your upper body. Maybe walking the hands forwards just a little bit, maybe bending the elbows to the mat. If the elbows don't quite reach the mat, if you've got a block near you, or a book, if you're modifying a little bit, improvising a little bit, then you can drop your forearms to that block. We're not going to be here long, just another 2 breaths. Reach the chest forwards. And if you went down, go ahead, bring yourself back up onto your hands. Everybody lift the back knee up once again, stepping forwards into a squat. Your back foot is going to step up to the outside of your left hand. So both your feet are mirroring one another here. Now start to bend your knees. Again, you might need your block or a prop here. Start to bend the knees. Knees, once again, common theme, going out to the sides. You might need to stop here, a little bit higher. You want your knees out, you want your heels down. You might be able to go a little bit lower. Some of you might need a block underneath your hips to sit on. Some of you won't need to sit on that block. I'm going to choose to use the block tonight. Because as I said a moment ago, I'm feeling a little bit beat up. So wherever you are, bring your palms to prayer, elbows inside of your knees. Knees are driving out to the side. Now think about upward facing dog in your upper back, right? You're not collapsing here. You're not trying to get your elbows forwards. Once the elbows are in, then you're really drawing the shoulders back and lifting your chest.
First option, stay exactly where you are. Second option, a little bit of a twist. Start to slide your left shoulder, if you're going there. Left shoulder slides down inside of your left knee, left thigh. Left hand can either come to the mat, somewhere out in front of the left toes, or that hand can cross over the body and grab a hold of your right ankle. Now your right hand, first option, just presses into this right knee, helping to turn that right shoulder up. Second option, your right arm reaches straight up towards the ceiling, trying to open here. Take another few breaths. Wherever you are, this right shoulder is lifting up. The hips are still coming forwards underneath you. Last one. Release. Come back around to the center into a fold. Bring the weight into your feet, lifting the hips up. Feet might still be wide. You can set the block back off to the front of your mat or off to the side here. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, heel toe the feet back towards one another and fold. And again, inhale, flat back, down dog or vinyasa. Plant the palms, step or jump the feet to the back of the mat. If you're taking the vinyasa, chaturanga, keep the weight grounded through the knuckles. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Center of the top of the foot pushes down. Downward facing dog. Exhale. And then you guessed it, other side. Left foot steps to the outside of your left hand. So with being a little bit wider in your feet, your center of gravity is shifted just a little bit, so it's a little bit more awkward to come up. That's why this one feels so weird. So again, knee a little bit out. Let yourself kick through the back heel, glutes are switched on. Start to lift your chest, and then eventually the arms come up overhead. 1 or 2 more breaths. Feeling that opening through the front of your back leg, feeling that stability in your front hip here. Next, exhale, release. Both hands coming down inside of your left foot. First option, back knee sets down. Second option, the back knee can stay lifted. From there, into lizard lunge. Your hips here would like to be in line with your knees. So one knee is forwards and the other knee is back somewhere, whether it's on the mat or lifted. You would like your hips to be, to create a straight line. If you had 3 points there, 1 point on one knee, 1 point through your hips, and 1 point on the back knee, if you were to connect those dots, you want them to be a straight line rather than to be an angle. That's how you're trying to open your hips here. That might mean you've got just another few breaths here as I continue my chat. So if you went any further on the first side, just go ahead, go there now as I continue talking you to death. And so what that might mean to get your hips lower is maybe it's not just dropping your hips to the mat. Maybe it's lengthening your stance a little bit, walking the back knee away from you so you're a bit more open there. Hopefully you've had enough of this posture by now. So if the back knee is lifted, go ahead, or is dropped, go ahead, lift it up. If you lower down in the upper body, come on back up to your hands, into your squat once again. Right foot steps up to the outside of your right hand. Block if you need it. I'm gonna set mine underneath me. Go ahead, start to bend your knees. Knees go out over your pinky toes. You might stop here, bringing the elbows inside of your knees. You might let the hips get a little bit lower here. Wherever you are, palms pressed together at the chest center, elbows pressing those knees out to the side. Keep gripping with your toes. First option, stay here. Again, finding that lift. Second option is to slide your right shoulder inside of your right knee. Right hand either to the mat, just out in front of your right toes, or across and taking a hold of your left ankle. Then your left arm, first option, pressing into your left knee. Second option, lifting up towards the ceiling. A little bit of twist. Maybe feeling some length through the left side of the body, the left back side. Some of you might only be feeling your hips here. This might be a pretty intense squat. That's okay if that's all that's happening. Take one more. And then release. Come back around to the center. Push down through the heels to lift your hips. Let the upper body fold. Inhale, flat back, lift your chest. Heel toe the feet towards one another and fold. One more. Inhale, flat back, vinyasa. Exhale, plant the palms, step or jump the feet to the back of the mat. Move through your vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog.
Exhale, downward facing dog. To the top of the mat, inhale, step or jump the feet forwards. Lift the chest halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the hips, strong glutes. Inhale, lift your chest all the way up to standing. Now, if you have a strap, go ahead and grab that strap if you think you're gonna need it. And what you can do with your strap, just so that it's ready to be used, is you can just drop it over your shoulder so that it's there for you to grab a hold of if you need it. I'm not gonna use my strap, so I'm just gonna leave it off to the side here. Now, you need a little bit of space out in front of you, so if you're practicing in front of a wall, go ahead, just take a step or two back away from the front edge of your mat so you've got some space out in front of you. Shift your weight into your right leg. Start to bring your right knee up towards you. Did I just say right knee? I meant left knee. I can't remember now what I've said. And usually there's somebody in front of me to tell me what I've said, and there's not today. So your weight is shifting into your right foot and your left knee is coming up towards you. I said it right that time. Now, from here, take a hold underneath your left thigh. Ooh, I'm gonna get it right. Hands underneath your left thigh, interlacing the fingers. Now you can see my posture is kind of dropped here. That's okay. Grab that hold, make that bind, and then pull your shoulders back against your lifting toe. Just like at the very start of the class, your shoulders are pinned back, your rib cage is drawing in. Now from here, start to kick through your left heel. As the left heel goes forwards, don't let the hips go forwards with it. Don't let your shoulders go forwards with it. Keep everything in the rest of the body the same. You're just working towards a straight left leg. You might not get all the way there. It might still be bent a little bit. First option, stay here. Second option, left peace sign fingers. Take a hold of your left big toe. Your right hand then comes onto your hip, your right hip, if you're going there with that bind. Again, you don't need it. We're gonna open here. So if your leg is straight and you still have that first bind, you can keep it straight, or you can go ahead and bend the leg. If you have this first bind, take your left hand inside of your left thigh, right hand onto your hip. Everybody start to move your left leg out to the left side of the room. So that's whether you have a hold inside of the thigh or if you're taking a hold of your big toe, that left leg is moving out to the side of the room. Wherever you are, keep your gaze fixed on a non-moving point out in front of you. That's going to help with your balance. Move slowly. Then slowly start to bring that leg back to the center, whatever variation you have. Switch your hands. So your right hand is now going to take either the outside of your left thigh or the outside of your left foot. Left hand onto your hip. Twist. Your left shoulder starts to turn back. Keep your gaze forwards over the front of your mat so that that gaze is going to help your balance. Once you've created this turn of your upper body, if you want it to be harder, then start to take your gaze back. It might just start by looking out over the left side of your mat. It might then eventually end up over your left shoulder. Take one more. And then release. Come back to the center. Release the left foot onto the mat. You made it. Well done. Those aren't easy standing balances, especially when you've linked them all together. Your right glute probably is talking to you a little bit now after holding all of your weight for that period of time. Other side. Great thing about yoga, you have two sides. You get to do everything twice. So shift over into your left foot this time. Your right knee starts to come up. Eventually the toes float. Take a second, just find good posture. The rest of the body doesn't have to be working too hard here right now. Then find your bind. First bind, hands underneath your right thigh, shoulders pinned back. Now, as you brought your shoulders back, your knee might have come up a little bit higher. That's going to challenge your mobility a little bit further here if that knee came higher up. That's okay. Start to kick. Right heel kicks forwards. Now you're looking for, if the hips go forwards, it means that you're trying to get your heel higher rather than the leg straighter. And if the shoulders come forwards, it means that you're trying to bring your knee down to meet that straight leg rather than kicking up through the heel. So keep the shoulders back, keep the hips underneath you. Take one more breath here. And then if you went further on the first side, it's your right peace sign fingers onto your right big toe, left hand onto your hip.
If you're not going for that full variation of your bind, it's your right hand coming inside of your right thigh, left hand onto your hip. Whether the knee is bent or straight, slowly start to move that right leg out to the right side of the room. See if you can keep your hips facing forwards. Watch if your hips have tipped over to that right side as well. Keep them facing forwards as much as you can. Take just one more here on this one. Start to bring the right leg back to the center. Change your bind. Left hand comes either to the outside of your left thigh, whether the leg is straight or bent, or left hand to the outside of your right foot. Right hand can start on your hip. Start the twist. Right shoulder rolls back. Your chest is working to turn to the right side of your mat while the hips are still facing forwards. Kick a little stronger through that right heel, or just reach a little further through the right knee, reaching towards the front of the wall. The front of your mat. If you're changing your gaze, go ahead, start to turn the gaze, maybe eventually over your right shoulder. It might not get all the way there. And then release. When you've had enough, come back to the center, right foot to the mat. Okay, that stuff is done, don't worry. So if you took a big giant step back, go ahead, come back forwards to, the top end of your mat. We're preparing Surya Namaskara A. Take a second, take a couple breaths, ground into your feet. Let the pelvis be tucked. You have length, not only through the front of your body, but through the back of your body as well. All sides are lengthening upwards. Surya A. Inhale, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, fold, hinging at the hips. Inhale, flat back. Vinyasa. Exhale, plant the palms, step or jump the feet back. Exhaling to chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And back to downward facing dog. Coming all the way through into a seat. Inhale, step or jump up and through, having a seat on the mat. I think quite a few of you are probably very glad to be here now. Now, if you need a little bit of help here for your fold, we're coming into a fold in a moment. Sit on a block, sit on a pillow, sit on the rolled up back edge of your mat, roll that up and sit on that. That little bit of elevation will help. Kick through the heels. Inhale, lift the chest, reach forwards. Exhale, fold, hinging at the hips, hands towards your legs somewhere. Now your hands might come only to your shins, they might come to your ankles, they might come to your feet. All will work perfectly, just so long as you're keeping a long spine. You're not collapsing in the upper back. What we're trying to do is lengthen the space in the backs of the legs. Your back might get a little bit of lengthening as well, but focusing on the backs of the legs. So as much as we spent time kind of talking about tucking your pelvis under, in this posture, in this folding posture, it's actually beneficial to tip your pelvis back the way a little bit so that you're, again, lengthening the backs of the legs a little bit further. Take another 2 or 3 breaths, lifting the chest on the inhales, folding on the exhales. Then coming back up to the top, inhale, lift your chest. Bend the right knee up towards you. So the right foot is now grounded on the mat and your right leg is strong. So even though that knee is bent, it's gonna stay pointing up towards the ceiling. That's gonna make sense in a moment. Twist. Left arm, first option around the front of your right leg, second option over the knee to the outside of your thigh. Now that you've got your left arm either pulling that right leg or pushing into it, it'll make a bit more sense now why that leg needs to stay strong. You want it pointing straight up and not collapsing, not giving into the left arm. Right hand comes to the mat behind you. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Exhale, twist. Hips staying grounded. They're not changing. They're not turning with you. They're staying exactly where they are. The rib cage rotates. 2 more. Last one. Back to the center, release. Both hands take a hold underneath your right foot. Lift that right foot up towards the front wall. You're working here towards a straight leg. Again, just like when you were balancing, your upper body isn't sacrificed for a straight leg. Keep the chest lifted, keep your back muscles really strong here. Then start to kick. As the heel kicks up a little bit, your knee will be pressed forwards. Some of you will stop somewhere along the way with a bent knee still. Some of you will make it to a straight leg. 2 more breaths, lifting the chest, pull the shoulders back. Now, wherever you are, take a little bend of the knee if it's not there already. Your right leg is lifted here. So take your left hand to the outside of your right foot. You're coming back into another twist. Knee is bent. If you can, with a long spine, you can straighten the leg. If you cannot, if that causes you to collapse, keep the knee bent. From here, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, reach back through the right fingers towards the back of your mat. Don't let the right leg collapse over. It's kicking straight forwards. Both legs have their own lanes that they're moving in. Take 2 more here, lifting and turning. Last one. Release back to the center. Release that right leg to the mat. Bend your left knee up towards you, and you're just switching to the other side. Finding your twist. Right leg is a strong base. First option, your right arm around the front of your left leg. Second option, tricep over the knee to the outside of the thigh. Left hand onto the mat behind you. Both legs are strong. Both of them are really strong. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist. Both shoulder blades are pinning together. Again, it's not just your back shoulder, but it's your front shoulder as well. Don't let that roll in or up towards the ear. Bring it back and down. 2 more. And then release back to the center. You're almost there, don't worry. Both hands underneath your left foot. Start to lift your left foot up. Set your back first, lift the chest, then start to kick. Left heel kicking up a little bit as your left knee punches forwards. 2 or 3 more. Keep that bottom leg strong as well. That's a base. Imagine that that's your standing leg if you were doing that one-legged balance. You need that leg to be strong to help stabilize. Last one. Again, everybody bend the knee a little bit, giving a little release to that leg. Your right hand goes to the outside of your left foot. Either keep the knee bent or straighten the leg out. When you are ready, inhale, lift. Exhale, reach through the left fingers. Now, as you reach back here, you might be leaning a little bit towards the back of the mat, which might be preventing you from lengthening in your lower back. Let this floating heel get a little bit heavier, which will pull your chest more upright. Now you're stacked right on top of your hips. Take another 3. Kicking forwards through both heels. 2 more. Last one. Release back to the center. Release that left leg. Draw both knees up towards you. Now, if you've had enough, if you're like, you know what, Kat, that was good. I think I'm ready to close everything down now. If that's the case, just keep the knees into your chest, roll down onto your back, take the knees with you. If you're like, you know what, I need just a tiny, tiny little bit more before we finish, then you're gonna take your final vinyasa. If you're taking the final vinyasa, cross the ankles, roll over the knees, step or jump the feet back. Exhale to chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or up dog. And exhale back to down dog. If you chose the vinyasa, inhale, step or jump all the way through one final time into a seat, and then everybody coming down onto your back. So take the knees with you. And then you're preparing your bridge pose. Release the knees, set the feet down. So we're just going to take the one back bend tonight. Once the feet are down, your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. Heels a little bit wider than your toes. Ground through the feet, press through the palms. Inhale, lift your hips. Hips are going high. If you have any other variations of back bend that you'd like to take, if you've got a full wheel and you feel like your body is open for it, you're welcome to go there. If you're staying in bridge, you can walk your shoulders a little closer together, maybe interlacing the fingers underneath you if it feels good. If you've got a bind of your ankles that feels nice, you can take that as well. Let's say another 3 to 5 breaths here.
Let the chest open back the way. If you need a couple more breaths, take them. When you're ready, release any binds that you've taken. Shoulder blades separate, bringing the upper back down, and then roll down, one vertebrae at a time. Making sure every vertebrae has a chance to ground before the next one sets down. And then just take a few breaths. If you're still floating, think about coming down. And then everybody draw the right knee into your chest. Wrap the arms around the right leg. You can release the left leg if it feels good. Just 2 or 3 breaths pulling that right knee into your chest. Lower back is grounding. And then the left knee is going to come up towards you. Wrap the arms around the left leg and release the right leg long. So you've just switched sides. And then go ahead, bring the right knee back up once again. And then set both feet down onto the mat. Now from here, we're going to come into a reclining Gomukhasana arms. So roll over onto your left side. Roll to your left. Once you're at your left side, take your right hand, which will be the hand that's on top at the moment. Bring that right hand behind your back with the palm facing away from you. Once that right hand is behind you, see if you can slide the right hand up, working it maybe even between the shoulder blades if it will get there. Then come back down onto your back. So once you're here, you might be able to see from your view my shoulder, which most of you will probably have happening as well. So my right shoulder has rolled up here and come up off of the mat. So what you're going to allow happening here, just for a couple breaths, is allow that right shoulder to pull back down into the mat, using the retraction of your shoulder blades but underneath you to bring that shoulder back down. You can stay here if this is enough. You can also bring your left hand underneath your head so that that elbow is pointing up to the top edge of your mat. Just another 2 or 3 here. Getting all that juicy information from your right shoulder. And then if the left hand is under your head, go ahead, release it. Roll back over onto your left side. Release the right hand from underneath you, down onto your back again, and then you're going to switch to the other side. Roll onto your right side. Bring the left hand behind you, palm faces away. Slide that hand up as high as it will go, comfortably, and then roll down onto your back. Again, that shoulder is probably pulled up off of the mat, so you're allowing it to pin back down again with some engagement underneath your shoulder blades. If you went there on the first side, that free right hand can come underneath your head. And then releasing. Release the hand from under your head first. Roll over onto the right side, releasing the left hand from underneath you. Come back down onto your back again. And then preparing your twists. Everybody's favorite. Shift your hips to the right side of your mat. Hips to the right side of your mat. Shoulders can stay in the center, but hips move to the right. 2 options. First option, knees stay together. Second option, your right thigh crosses on top of your left. Wherever you are with the knees, draw them up into your chest. Drop the knees to the left side of your mat. And then your gaze goes out over the right shoulder. Adjust here if needed. So your hips, they might need to go a little further to the right. Your knees might have to adjust their height in relationship to your chest, maybe coming higher up to closer to the chest, maybe going a little further away. You're just looking for something that works.
Just maybe 2 more breaths on this side. Deep breaths into the right side of the body. And then coming back to the center. Unwinding the legs, hips back to the middle, knees into the chest. And then the other side. Feet down, hips to the left side of your mat. If you're crossing the legs, it's left on top of right. Knees into your chest, knees to the right side. And then your gaze in the opposite direction, over the left. Again, adjusting where it's needed. And when you're ready, returning to the center. Taking a few moments here, maybe rocking a little bit if it feels good on your back. And then preparing your Shavasana. Go ahead, grab props if you use props like pillows or blankets. If you've got a favorite shape for your body, go ahead, start to find it. Otherwise, the legs can release long. The arms can drop by your sides. The palms facing upwards. Close your eyes. Shavasana. Release the fingers and the toes. Release the ankles and wrists. The knees and elbows. Let the hips sink down into the mat as the legs flop open away from one another. The shoulders melt down as your breath returns to normal. Your lips may slightly part as you release your jaw, letting the tongue come away from the roof of your mouth. Softening the space between the eyebrows. Softening the space behind the ears. Listening to any sounds that may be around you. letting them wash over your body. Creating stillness. Watching as your thoughts come in and out through your mind. Letting them finish. Letting them pass. Without creating any attachments to them. Finding the space that exists inside your mind. And finding some peace. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Beginning to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circling the ankles and wrists. Rocking the head from side to side. Inhale to reach the arms overhead, reaching long through the fingers and through the toes. Exhale, draw the knees into the belly, wrap the arms around them, giving yourself one last big hug, rocking from side to side. Eventually winding up on your right hand side, using your right bicep as a pillow, remaining in Shavasana with your eyes closed. And when you're ready, press into your left palm, coming up to any comfortable seated position. Palms may press together at chest center if you choose. May you take only what is offered, take only what you need, and always give more than you take. Stay safe, stay kind, and stay patient. Thank you. Namaste.